Shalom Aleichem. Good night, y'all. This is Ro. I pray that everybody's all right. I'm doing good. I just got off of work. This video is being made because a question was asked, who wrote the Bible? And I turned this light off because of the fact that I am on the road still. I can get in trouble for that. But the question about who wrote the Bible is not that much of a simple question, bro. First off, the Bible is only a transliteration. It is not the original information in the utterance of the people from whence it came from. So when you're talking about the Bible, you're only talking about the beginning of knowledge, which is helpful because everybody should be able to understand what the essence of purity and the source is when it comes to seeing the Bible. So the basic knowledge of the Bible is actually the most important, and that is that we can't live by ourselves. We have to operate through the purity of the essence of all creation. Now, if you're getting in particulars, you're talking about the KJV. The KJV was authorized by King James, all right? So King James was in a battle with, I believe, his sister, the European nations. You got Italy, France, Germany, Spain, Portugal, and I want to say Turkey. Those lands were all a family type of issue. Those lands were led by groups of people who practice incest. All right, so now King James got in trouble with the Catholics, so he authorized a group of priests under his direction to transliterate a book so that he can have, so he would not have to use the Latin Vulgate. The Latin Vulgate was created in 325 AD by a brother named Saint Joseph, I believe. I'm driving right now, so you gotta forgive me, bro. Anyway, there was a big discussion between Arius and a Catholic priest on who Yahushua was. And Arius's thought process was that Yahushua is the son of Yah, but he is not Yah himself. So he's not Yah. He's not who you call God. And the thesis of the Catholic Assembly was that he was. So now what you're dealing with is a powerhouse, because it's a group of people that were aligned under Constantinople to be able to have the power to control who says who's saved and who's not saved. You know what I mean? So obviously it's rigged. They won. The black man, the Liberian, lost. So the text that was used at that time, they were not permitted to use. All right. One thing to remember is that Catholics' view on the Bible or the church is that they hold the power, they control it. There's a similar view, just like that view, within the Jewish community. All right. Now, in Torah, the people had to follow the elders and everything else of that nature to get the knowledge. When I say everything of those of that nature, first and foremost, I'm a firstborn. I've been the firstborn for 4 generations. So scripturally, it's my responsibility to lead everyone that has been under each clan of my bloodline from my father's seed. So I would be responsible for training. I would be responsible for judgment. I would be responsible for hearing all cases. to make sure that all kids are trained, to make sure that the women of our clan stay pure, which means that no dude just go run up in on them and then not claim their child, or that they don't get raped in the streets. It's my responsibility to check and make sure that everybody's able-bodied and educated. All right. Now, when you get into the actual importance of the book, then you're talking about two different words. You're not talking about Bible, you're talking about scripture. All right. The Gospels are not scripture. The Gospels are commentary. They're commentary about Yahushua and what he did and what his students did. All right. Now you get to Tanakh. Tanakh is not scriptures all the way. Every single book in the Tanakh is not scriptures. You got poems, you got commentary of the prophets, you got the writings of the true pastor Solomon, which failed his post. Then you got the commentaries, which we call scriptures. Those commentaries are called Torah. And the reason why they're called scriptures is that's our rules and regulations. Those are our precepts. Where it says build upon precept, that's what that's about. You see what I'm saying? And all that's based around a family. A family. These people descended from a man, and that's the story of our people. That's our legacy to our children. Deuteronomy chapter 28 is what people go by in explaining what happened to our people and why we're slaves in America today. So, as far as your answer to the Bible, who wrote the Bible is concerned, you can't just say that because it's too open-ended, which is why I said, as believers, whether it be Christian, whether it be Catholic, whether it be Messianic, whether it be Yahudim, whether it be Black Jew, whether it even be Muslim, it'd be your responsibility to know the truth of where all this information came from and align yourself accordingly. So a person that says that they believe in Allah but don't believe in the Torah, they automatically don't even know where they come from. You see what I'm saying? A person that argues about who Yeshua is a person that don't know who they are. You see what I'm saying? You can't mold the text to fit your needs. You have to understand the whole completion of the text and understand theses that are in the text to make sure that you adjust your life accordingly or relate it to what you're going through now and use it to be able to correct yourself if you need to correct yourself, or relax yourself if you've been frustrated to help you get on with your way. You know what I mean? So people can try to say whatever they want to say about the text. Don't make them right. That's why it says, study to show thyself approved unto Yahuwah, a willing workman. Because it's our responsibility to serve our household. You see what I'm saying? And that's what the text is about. It's about serving a household. When a person is not of that text, they're to be adopted. They don't get to jump up the ladder and be above everybody. They have to operate accordingly. You see what I'm saying? And that's not taught in ministry. You see, it says that in Romans, for instance, as an example, that there will never be anyone to head the house but the Yehud. You see what I'm saying? But keep in mind, Yehud is under punishment. So we went through all the things that we went through. The word had to be preserved so that it could come back to us millennia later. Now, the text says that we will be a light unto the Gentiles. So we were. And the Gentiles retained what they could despite of syncretism. Syncretism. Syncretism, basically, for all understanding, is equivalent to idolatry, idol worship. Because we're not supposed to practice the ways of other people. So people have added on to our way their thesis. Not written in the text, because they too scared to alter that text. But when you make the Catholic Pope the head of all things, now you're dealing with a different ball game. Now he can create his own holidays instead of dealing with the feast days. Now he can authorize rules according to marriage, according to household, that he could never do because Torah says otherwise. And the Yahudim existed. Yahushua's people was still flowing and was living vibrantly along the way. You see what I'm saying? So, for instance, Christmas. I don't celebrate Christmas. I grew up celebrating Christmas. But when I studied and I realized that the reason why they created Christmas was because of the fact that Mass, which is, I guess, in some shapes or form equivalent to assembly, was low. So these people needed to find a way to get members back. And they were dealing with battling Wicca because of the fact that people were going to the Caucasian people were going back to their folk religions. They created Christ Mass to try to deal with that issue. You see what I'm saying? They created Halloween to deal with the day that I was born on, which is the day of Samhain. So Valentine's Day, another day, you know? You got Janus, the Greek god of new beginnings, face forward and face backwards, able to see the past and the present in the same time. It's January. That's your New Year's. So all this stuff was created by them. You know, these solstices was created by them to mock and copy us. And it's historical. If you took the time to research it, I'm sure you'd find the information, brother. I don't know if your questions were sincere or not, but here's my thing. Explaining stuff like this on the internet is going to cause confusion and chaos. You're going to be arguing for no reason. A person's going to write a word, and then all of a sudden, people's going to hate you. Because now, as a reader, you're putting your own emotions to the subject. You know? So if you hear my voice now, and you see that I don't have an attitude with you, I'm not trying to yell at you, I'm just driving in the car. I'm not trying to act like I'm above you or anything. I'm just conversing. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot easier to know my spirit and recognize that what I'm saying to you is not trying to be argumentative. All right, brother? I hope this helps. And if you got more questions or want to discuss more stuff, then that's fine. Martin Luther and William Tyndale dealt with what was known as the Tyndale Bible. So King James did have a copy of that. There's tons of the Bibles. All they are transliterations. Based on the understanding of those people, they try to give us the word in their language. And unfortunately, they weren't perfect, but they were accurate enough because they gave us the basis of the text. It's just that the English language is so vast that there are better words to be able to relate to our text today. That's why we have those. Now, the Quran has 24 books, 24 translations. That's not something that people talk about. The fact of the matter is that we